There are two things that we're going to go over in this video. The first is what the 12-week masterclass is going to entail, and the second is how to use the interface that is SweatSphereFitness.com. Now, jumping right into it, who is this even for? Why are we here? Every single transformation needs to have three different phases. If you do not set up your foundation, your execution, and your optimization phases, you are not going to have a consistent, well-rounded program. This is why every other program that you've tried it, you've seen results, and then it fell off. That's what always happens because you never understood the fundamentals behind building muscle and losing fat. That's why I built the 12-week masterclass, so that way by the end of the 12 weeks, you will not need a personal trainer, a coach, anyone to tell you what to do or how to do it. You will already know why building muscle is important, how to build muscle effectively, and how to fight fatigue so that way you won't plateau and fall off later. Now, it is broken down into three different phases: foundation, execution, and optimization. Now, the reason why I've set it up in this way is because each phase builds on the previous stage. In phase 1, weeks 1 through 4, you are going to be focusing on why you're building muscle is important, how to track your progress with body measurements, how to warm up, and an intro to stretching, the fundamentals of proper exercise techniques. So you're going to be learning how to execute exercises without injuring yourself, basic nutrition principles, how to build balanced meals using simple meal blocks, recovery habits that support consistent progress, and the benefits of walking with low intensity cardio. Now, this is super important because once you have this as your foundation, you can then improve upon it with phase 2, which is execution, weeks 5 through 8. With phase 2, you're going to be learning what actually builds muscle, how to perform exercises more effectively, how to modify meals to fit your goals, how to stay on target with your macros even when eating on the go, additional recovery strategies to improve performance, and common nutrition myths with scientific evidence to back them up, so that way you can see what is a nutrition myth and what is actually good advice on how your body needs to take in energy. Now, phase 3 is going to be optimization, weeks 9 through 12. This is where you're going to take what you've learned and apply it to real world scenarios. This is where you're going to learn how to optimize exercise selection and execution, how to stay consistent while traveling, some more recovery strategies when life becomes busy, common fitness myths and misconceptions, how fatigue affects muscle growth, performance, and recovery through the Fighting the Fatigue Demon series, where we're going to go over what fatigue is, how to mitigate it, and why you should be focusing on reducing fatigue when it comes to, again, performance and recovery. This is how we're going to combine everything that you've learned into a sustainable long-term approach. By using this masterclass, you are not going to need a personal trainer because, like I said, you will know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to bounce back if you fall off. So, of course, it is a lot more in-depth than everything I just mentioned. The information is very simple to understand, so if you're a beginner, intermediate, or even an advanced lifter that hasn't fully learned the basics behind building muscle and losing fat, it is going to be easy to understand for anyone that is joining and trying to get some knowledge from the masterclass. So no matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced lifter, you will be able to understand these principles and apply them to your training. It is nothing to be scared of. We're not going to go over. This is not a microbiology class. This is simply how to apply yourself and learn some anatomy and physiology along the way. Now, moving on to the website. If you are joining with the standard or premium programs, let me move myself out of the way. I'm going to shrink myself down. Hold on. Look at me, I'm really tiny now. If you are joining with the standard or the premium programs, you're going to get access to a couple of different things. With the standard program, you're going to get access to the website, the macro calculator, the food log, the training log, and 2 different programs: the 2-day full body program and the 4-day upper lower program. The goal is not to be a gym rat all the time. The goal is to get in, get a growth stimulus, and then leave. Now, you're going to get access to the video tutorial library within each program, so you're going to know exactly the technique and how to standardize your reps with just the standard program, but obviously we're going to build upon that with the masterclass. And with the masterclass, you're going to get a lot more programs to choose from: the 4-day upper lower split, the 6-day upper lower split, the full body every other day program, the 4-day anterior posterior, and the 6-day anterior posterior split. It is also going to include the tools such as the food log, the training log, the exercise video tutorial library, and other access to the school community as well. Now, I already talked about what's inside the masterclass. I'm going to cover topics like myofibular hypertrophy, mechanical tension, progressive overload, nutrition tracking, macro breakdown, meal planning, stretching, foam rolling, cortisol management, and recovery optimization, just to name a couple things. Now, that is what I'm going to recommend for the majority of you guys to start off with, is that masterclass. So by the end of those 12 weeks, you won't need me. But if you're someone that struggles with consistency and accountability, you're going to be better off with the VIP one-on-one coaching. You do have to apply for coaching because I do not have enough slots for more than 5 people at a time for the one-on-one coaching. So make sure you apply, and I will let you know if I have availability to coach you one-on-one personally. All right, now, jumping into the inside of the website, what do we have on the inside? On the inside, you're going to see your dashboard, your daily tips, and your macronutrient goal for the day. You're also going to see your macro trends, so how well you've been tracking throughout the week, and your body weight trends. Next, we're going to move on to tools, which is where you're going to use the 3 crucial tools, which is the food tracker, the macro calculator, and the training logs. So starting off with the food tracker, this is going to be crucial to building accountability and awareness with your nutrition. So you can track down here using the add button, type in whatever food that you're trying to look for, and you can go ahead and add it to your daily nutrition. Now, once that happens there, it automatically puts it into the log, and you'll save it there so you can come back and look at it later. The goal with this is not to track your macros forever, but just to build enough awareness so you know what the macros are for each food that you're eating, and you don't have to track, obviously, for the rest of your life. Now, the macronutrient calculator is where you're going to get your goal for your proteins, carbs, and fats, which I'll teach you more about within the masterclass, and how to log that properly. Now, in order to calculate your macros, all you need to do is simply just put in your weight, your age, your height, your gender, your activity level, and your goal. Now, it will start off with your maintenance. Obviously, maintenance is your total daily energy expenditure, and it breaks that down into your proteins, carbs, and fats. Now, the way it does this is it breaks it down using the 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight metric for the protein. For fats, it is 0.3 to 0.5 grams of healthy fats per pound of body weight, and then the rest is filled with carbs. Now, you can also change this based off of what your goal is. If your goal is to gain weight, like mine is, you can up the calories. If your goal is to lose weight, you can lower the calories. The main thing that is going to be changing here is those carbs, and I explain why we're doing this method in the masterclass. Now, moving on, we're going to look at the training logs. The training logs are going to be where you're using your exercises and how you're going to track and see consistent progress, because I don't care if you look bigger or feel bigger in the gym. If you're not lifting more weight, or if you're not able to get more reps, you are not progressing. So we want to standardize and track our progression using the workout logs. If you're in the standard program, you can choose from these 2 programs here. If you're in the premium, you can choose from all of these. And if you're working one-on-one with me, you will get your own personalized program from me, because we're going to talk and go over what your goals are, and I can personalize your program specifically for your needs. Now, for example, if you're doing something like the 4-day upper lower split, you're going to see the 4 different days of the workout. You're going to start off with the first day, and you're going to be able to log your warm-up, your working set, and your second working set. You can track your reps and your RIR. If you don't know what that is, that's just reps in reserve. We'll talk more about that in the masterclass. If you don't have access to the specific exercise that I want you to do within the program, you can change the exercise to something that hits the same muscle group. I have alternate exercises for every single joint action within the programs, so you can obviously change what kind of squat pattern you're doing, for example, if you don't want to just leg press. Now, it also tracks your previous working weight, and so you'll know exactly what you did last week, so you can do it again, or maybe more this week when you're tracking for this workout. You also have video tutorials with each exercise that is going to have a video of yours truly showing how I want you to execute the exercise, what cues I want you to focus on, and how to set up the exercises. If it's a machine, barbell, or dumbbell exercise, you have that right here at your fingertips. This is both for the standard and premium membership, so this alone is going to be huge for you guys. Once you're done tracking your exercise, you can hit save, and then once you go down here, you can go ahead and see what exercises you already logged, track them based off of what weeks that you've been logging. Now, going over to the weekly check-ins, this is where you're going to be consistent with your body weights. And you can also take a look at what foods that you've eaten throughout the week and make any adjustments that you need to. This is also where you're going to be tracking your body weight. So you're going to weigh in the morning, and you're going to write any notes that you want to put in for yourself. Or if you're working one-on-one with me, this is where it sends over the notes for me specifically, because I am your coach. Next, we have the monthly check-in, which is where you're going to see the big calendar going over any of the exercises and foods that you tracked for the whole month. And this is where you're going to be logging your measurements. Measurements are super important to log if you're someone that is seeing a fat loss or muscle growth transformation, which I think everyone fits into that category. You're going to see inches taken off the waist. You're going to see inches put on things like the arms, the chest, the legs, while fat will be coming off of other areas. Because remember, we cannot spot reduce fat. So you're going to get smaller in some places, larger in other places. This is good. This is what we want. And this is how you're going to track that. So all of that is going to be down here. And then you can go ahead and save this so that you can come back to it and see the progress that you've made. So it's really important that you're doing your monthly check-ins and your weekly check-ins, especially if you're working one-on-one with me. That's where you're going to be communicating back and forth through here. And obviously, you can DM me through the community tab over here. So you'll get access to the community, access to all the educational videos that I'm going to be dropping in here, as well as just a supportive group that is also on the same journey you are and get the knowledge that most people do not have when it comes to lifting.